Kind of player that is trying. He probably.
What's he won in his career? What's he won in his career?
He's
Right.
won now.
He's won very little, by
in
the way.
respect of wanting to be a winner, his standards are high.
Yeah,
If he's not doing what he's doing, Man United are nowhere near where they are.
Roy Keane doesn't fully believe in Bruno Fernandes, despite his numbers for Manchester United being insane, despite playing in such a dysfunctional team. But why doesn't Keane love him? And how good is Bruno Fernandes really? Is he as important as Kevin De Bruyne? What about Martin Odegaard? And the big question is this: why is Bruno Fernandes not respected more? You might not agree with what I'm going to explain, but let me tell you some cold, hard truths about Bruno. And we have to start back in January 2020. Before we do, make sure to subscribe to United People's TV if you're new in town, because we've got some more big videos coming like this, and if you've got any ideas, get them into the comments. It's the 22nd of January in 2020. Jay Rodriguez has just smashed one in at De Gea's near post, 2-0 to Burnley at Old Trafford. United suffered their 8th league loss of the season. They dominated possession, but never looked like scoring. Things were bad. Borderline hopeless. Enter Bruno Fernandes. A £47 million signing from Sporting Lisbon. In hindsight, an absolute steal. He grabbed the team by the scruff of the neck immediately. Although his first game was a goalless draw against Wolves, his character was clear to see as he ran around, demanded his teammates passing the ball, and results soon followed. Bruno made an immediate impact. The defeat to Burnley on the 22nd of January, a week prior to his arrival, turned out to be the last league loss for United that season. When he came in, United sat 5th and was 6 points off 4th spot. Bruno notched up 15 goal contributions in the remaining 14 games of the season, and United finished 3rd. He had been the catalyst that turned United's season around, and even though he didn't arrive at the club until the end of January, he was named United's Player of the Season. The outstanding performances continued into his second season. He scored 18 and assisted 12 goals in 37 league appearances. He finished the season as United's top goal scorer in all competitions with 28 goals. Before his arrival in 2020, United were averaging 1.4 points per game that season and had a win rate of just 38%. And after that, in his first 12 months at the club, they averaged 2.2 points per game and had a win rate of 63%. His impact was transformational, and even had a lot of fans drawing comparisons to the impact made by a certain French king in the early 90s. Bruno's first 18 months at the club were outstanding, so where did things start to go wrong? And why do some fans genuinely think we'd be better off without him? During Bruno's first 2 seasons at the club, things appeared to be going in the right direction, as United went from 3rd in the league in the Europa League semi-final in his first season to 2nd in the league, and losing the Europa League final on penalties. Let's not talk about that. But when things went dreadfully wrong in Solskjaer's final season, fans and pundits were looking for someone to blame. Some blame Ronaldo for being a bad fit, some blame Rashford's poor form, and some blame Bruno, even though in that season he had scored 10 and assisted 14, and had the most big chances created in the Champions League. People started to criticise his body language when something didn't go his way, and that has continued since.
I feel like when you speak about like recovery runs, work ethic, like that's what comes from running for your mate and everything else. And then you see Bruno, someone misses a chance, his hands are in the air. Like
I think
you
Bruno's
don't
frustrating.
do that.
Jill,
You don't do that if you're
Bruno's
together.
a winner.
And if you took him out of the poor dysfunctional team that he's currently in and put him in a good one, he'd slot right in.
I think when I watch him play, I see a player that genuinely cares. There's a frustration. Yes, there's sometimes pettiness. Sometimes he's calling out his players. But if I was coming into that club, or if it's the manager, if he keeps his job, Eric Ten Hag, whoever comes in, he's the sort of player you're looking to build the team around. He's a player. He makes things happen. I see him trying to order people around. But what the frustration comes from, and we'll look at some of the goals, I don't think people care as much as what he does.
People have raved about Martin Odegaard over the last 2 seasons, and it's fair praise. But over that 2-year period, he has 43 goals and assists. Bruno Fernandes has got 54 in a far more dysfunctional team. This season, Bruno has created the most chances in the Premier League, 14 more than Odegaard. He ranks joint first for shot-creating actions in Europe's top 5 leagues. In what is one of the most dysfunctional United teams of the Premier League era, Bruno is creating more for his teammates than anyone else. Imagine what he could do with better players, in a better system. When you think of attacking midfielders in the Premier League over the last decade, most people would consider Kevin De Bruyne as the gold standard. In his 9 seasons at City, De Bruyne has 68 league goals, which is impressive. In his 4.5 years at United, half the time, Bruno has scored 54, just 14 fewer. He'd undoubtedly perform even better in a better team, and yes, he'd still lose the ball a lot. The best creators do. To lose the ball a lot You must have it a lot. And invariably, the players who concede possession most frequently are often the best in the league. In 2018, nobody in Europe's top 5 leagues lost the ball more than De Bruyne and Messi. Both pretty decent players. The truth is, the people are looking for someone to blame for United's shortcomings, and Bruno's an easy target. But why is he an easy target? He's been there through the bad and the good. He's played over 500 club games in his career, and he's missed 3 games of club football, 1 because of injury and 2 because of the flu. It's not like he's coming off early in matches either to protect himself and keep himself fresh. United can't afford to take him off and lose his creative spark. He almost always plays every minute of every game, 50, 60 times a season. For Gary Neville to question his effort was bad enough, but he went even further. During one of the restarts in the same game against Liverpool, as Ten Hag was making subs, Neville claimed Bruno Fernandes is stood in the centre circle with his arms raised, asking, "Why is it me not coming off?" Honestly, I have to say some of his behaviour in the second half has been a disgrace. Now obviously, Bruno wasn't asking to be taken off. He was trying to find out what position he would be playing after the subs that were made. But the damage was done. People still bring that up more than a year later to question his mentality, as if it's 100% fact. The fact that he's playing with a broken hand, or that he played 30 minutes at centre-back on one leg versus Liverpool in the FA Cup recently, should be more than enough to disprove the myth that when things get hard, Bruno just throws his hands in the air, has a tantrum, and gives up. But he won't be. Neither will the fact that he has led by example on the pitch this season. Every single one of his league goals this season has either been an equaliser or a winner. Let me repeat that. Every single one of his league goals that he's scored has been a winner or an equaliser. His goals have mattered every time. He's never given up. He's constantly tried to drag his team up to his level, just like he did when he came in January 2020. But the narrative has already been constructed. And speaking of narratives, there is a sizable segment of both United and rival fans who believe United would be better without Bruno. Why do they believe this? Apparently, because he gives the ball away too often and can never be part of a successful possession-focused team. These people are foolishly assuming that United are unable to keep the ball because of Bruno.
He didn't even look before he tried that flick, I swear. It was so dumb. It was so dumb.
I'm tired of this guy, man. That's what I mean. Can you give a better pass so he can whip in? Flipping hell.
And for what it's worth, many of these people are the same people who are saying Donny van de Beek should start over Bruno. All you need to do is watch him play for Portugal to see that it isn't true. The truth is that Bruno is at the heart of everything good that happens for United on the pitch.
He's doing everything top level all the time, and he's an amazing captain. He's been very good recently and also in the last many games, but yeah, again, a player who gets a lot of criticism, which is not needed.
He's always trying to make something happen for the team, and that requires taking risks. The problem is, the team he's in is incredibly unstable, and he ends up having to take on too much responsibility. If he was able to perform as a cog in part of an overall system, people would see just how great he is. And Bruno Fernandes deserves way more respect than he gets, both from United fans and football fans in general.